The only time we possess is the time we are presently in. While it is prudent to plan for the future and wise to remember the past, the present is where our life truly resides. If we outsource our happiness to future plans or past memories, then we lose the gift of the present day. In the end, our life will amount to the collection of our many small moments, the moments of every day. If you have pulled this card, then it may be time to focus on what is right in front of you now. Awareness exercise. Bring your awareness to your body and your surroundings. Try not to let your mind drift towards future tasks or past memories. Let everything fall away and just be. Notice where you are and how you feel, and focus on the details of this present moment, as an artist would. Look at the light, shapes, shadows, colors, and textures of what is before you. Once you have connected with the present, take time to ask yourself if there is anything. That needs to come forward now. You can also just rest in the space, enjoying the beauty of your present moment. Journaling prompt. What do you feel when you practice presence? Are there any feelings or sensations that arise during this practice that may stop you from becoming fully present? If so, sit with these feelings and ask yourself where they might be coming from. Note, the practice of presence can be life-changing. If you become overwhelmed at all during this practice, please take a time to step back and resume when you are ready. So let's get another one. Smaller deck, harder to shuffle. We have Let It Come Forth. Give your purrs, give yourself permission to feel it. Let it come forth. 22. Many things occur in life that we may be unable to process, and most, if not all, of these unprocessed events and emotions can be stored inside of us. If you have pulled this card, then it might mean there is a repressed emotion, memory, or aspect of the self that is hindering you in your current situation. As repressed emotions can subconsciously fuel many of our behaviors and interactions within the world, it can be beneficial to explore this. Inner work exercise. One of the ways we deal with overwhelming emotions is by storing them within our physical body. We can access these trapped emotions through physical, intuitive movement. For this practice, feel your body and move how you feel led to move, particularly focusing on any areas that feels if they are under pressure. If you need to punch the air, go for it. If you need to scream and dance wildly, go for it. As you practice this exercise, try to surrender to how your body needs to move. Try to withhold judgment and practice this exercise alone in a dimly lit room. There's Michelle messaging me right now. If you have trouble letting go, be gentle with yourself. Note, this can be a heavy practice. Please only continue if you are comfortable working with and releasing stuck or repressed emotions. If you feel as though you need further assistance in this practice, consider. If you feel as though you need further assistance in this practice, consider visiting a somatic therapist or trauma work professional. Responsive journaling prompt. Ask yourself if there is anything that needs to be spoken aloud and released. Write down what comes forth, observing it without judgment, and proceed to speak aloud what needs to be spoken. All right. I've seen, not that I'm on social media right now, but I've seen people doing that, and it looks emotional, like when they work with a somatic therapist, because your body holds trauma, is what I've seen. 41. You can do hard things. It's not as impossible as it may feel. I like that. 41. There are many things in this life we feel we cannot or should not have to do. It can be overwhelming to think about about doing something that is hard. But in truth, many things we label as hard could be more appropriately labeled as simply time-consuming or long. Sometimes not wanting to do the hard things can be reminiscent of mindsets we might have had in childhood when we never wanted to clean our room or do our homework. If you have pulled this card, then you might need to reassess what has been labeled as too hard. Self-care exercise. Take time today to think upon the beliefs that might be holding you back. Are you putting yourself in a box by what you cannot or should not have to do? Sometimes choosing to push through the feelings of, I do not want to do this because I do not feel like it, can be quite beneficial. Note, always trust your intuition when choosing which hard. Activities to do, and do not attempt anything unsafe to yourself or others. Responsive journaling prompt. How do you feel after you've done a hard thing? Are you proud of yourself? Remember to highly praise yourself after doing this hard thing because you deserve it. And we'll get one more. There's so little left. One more. I definitely feel like once we finish this deck, this will be the first deck that I've ever read the whole thing on this channel. So it is time to celebrate. Cultivate an air of celebration today. I know YouTube is going to be mad about the nipples on there, so I'll just do that. What is that? Is that a tiger with butterfly wings on? It is. It's a tiger in the back, that one. I know you probably can't see it. Let's see how close I can get. Oh, I can get pretty dang close. That's a tiger with butterfly wings on. I like that. I didn't know I could get that close to the camera. 20. Celebration is such a wonderful I don't have to cover it up from here because they can't see it from here. Celebration is such a wonderful experience in this life, one that can bring about a sense of community and pleasure. Even the smallest of reasons to celebrate is reason enough, as it is the spirit of celebration, not necessarily the physical adornments that make a gathering of people something extraordinary. If you have pulled this card, then it may be time to cultivate an air of celebration this week through action and spirit. In addition, this card could mean that it's time for you to celebrate yourself and your accomplishments. This practice can be done with others or by yourself, but the key aspect is to focus on what you have already accomplished, not what might be waiting for you in the future. If we do not celebrate ourselves in our current moments, then it might be hard to celebrate ourselves in future moments as well. Self-care exercise. Create spaces that encourage play, laughter, and fun. Invite others to join you, and take pleasure in their company. Savor the simple beauty that good food and good friends can bring. Responsive journaling prompt. How does it feel to your inner child to celebrate or to plan a celebration? What does the idea of excitement or expectation bring up in you? Are you worried about being let down or not being good enough? If you are experiencing any negative feelings around celebration, what can you do today to bring joy into it? All right, so let's read that book now. It's funny, because when that card was saying, what was that card talking about doing the hard things? You can do the hard things. As soon as I saw that, I was reminded that I have to clean my house today, and all day I've been like, I don't want to. So after this, I'm going to go start cleaning my house. You convince me card. Yeah. So we have the wound of violation, the wound of insecurity, and then I would say we're only a few readings away from being done with this book. Wound of violation, yay. Reading buddies, wound of violation. Trigger, unmet expectations. Root program, I expect. Traumas, restriction of freedom, oppression, violence, disrespect, autonomy violations, physical violations, boundaries being crossed, expectations not being met. Primary emotion, anger. Defense mechanism, overcompensating, aggressive, violent, defensive, domineering, power-hungry, argumentative, media choices, action, violence, war, power dynamics, sarcasm. I feel so attacked right now. Not anymore, but in the past, I was really into war movies, although I think it stems from having a past life or past experience with a war. That's what I believe. But I would watch war movies, and I was very sarcastic. I'm not as sarcastic as I used to be. Defense mechanism. Avoidant, passive, aggressive, bitter, resentful, spiteful, complaining, manipulative, interests and values, personal demands of life, boundaries, justice, underdog prevailing, freedom from oppression, revenge. Physical manifestation examples, bad breath, gossip, revengeful, bronchitis, verbal confrontation. Did anybody else have chronic bronchitis as a child? My parents smoked inside, which I think that's partly why I had chronic bronchitis. I don't get it anymore, but I used to get it all the time. Fever, burning anger, infections, frustration, liver, consistent anger, approach to challenges, violence, aggressiveness, yell, grit teeth, resent, put others in their place. And you know what? One day we were reading that sacred wounding and it talked about something with the jaw. Do you guys remember what wound that was? I need to look in that book because last week I was like going through something stressful and I started clenching my jaw, which is something I used to do. And it was really painful. This one talks about clenching jaw or gritting teeth. Anyway, I was clenching my jaw, and then I'd wake up in the morning, and I couldn't open my mouth. It was horrible. And I think that, hang on, I'm going to take a side road for a minute. I'll get back to the book in a minute. But as I was saying that, I don't believe in accidents, and it's connected to a throat chakra block, and that was my problem. I was having a hard time expressing myself last week, and one of the side effects is jaw clenching. So for some reason, I don't know if I read this on the Soul Tribe reading. I know that I've read this for love readings before because there's this mindset when it comes to love that if they wanted to talk to you, they would. If you wanted to say something, you would. If you wanted to, you would. And I always kind of advocate for, there's many reasons why people don't do the things that if they wanted to, they would. And I often read this blocked throat chakra in my love readings. But for some reason, the fact that I felt I don't doubt my intuition. And the fact that I felt called to talk about how I was clenching my jaw and a blocked throat chakra, I just want to read it to you guys. So if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead until you see me holding this book again, okay? But I also kind of want to read this because, again, I was clenching my jaw to the point where the muscle seized up and I couldn't open my mouth. And I was convinced there was something I was worried that I had something going on with my teeth, but my teeth weren't hurting. But blocked throat chakra, I'm just going to read this. A, Blocked throat chakra suppresses your voice, leaving you feel unheard, misunderstood, and afraid to express your truth. Holy crap. That's exactly how I was feeling, and then I was clenching my jaw, and then I couldn't open my jaw. I was feeling unheard and misunderstood and afraid to express my truth, not on my channel. It convinces you that speaking up is dangerous, that your words don't matter, that silence is safer, or that being agreeable is more valuable than being authentic. This wound stems from past experiences where your voice was dismissed, ridiculed, or punished. It manifests as difficulty expressing emotions, fear of confrontation, chronic throat tension, or the habit of swallowing your feelings to avoid conflict. You may struggle to ask for what you need, downplay your truth to keep the peace, or feel like you are always censoring yourself to fit in. Healing a throat chakra blockage requires reclaiming the power of your voice. Your truth does not need to be softened for the comfort of others. Your words deserve space, not suffocation. Speaking up is not just about being heard. It is about honoring yourself, knowing that your thoughts, needs, and emotions are valid. Sing, write, express. Let your voice take up space, without apology. The more you speak your truth, the lighter you become, because the things left unsaid do not disappear. They stay trapped within, waiting for the moment you finally set them free. And I had to, speak my truth. I had to let it out, and now my jaw feels much better. My dogs are losing their minds right now. Hang on, my kids have got my dogs all worked up down there. They're going outside. So do I feel comfortable expressing my true thoughts and emotions, or do I hold back? What early experiences shape my beliefs about speaking up and being heard? Punishment. Have I ever silenced myself to avoid conflict or judgment? Yes, I have. Do I struggle with setting boundaries through verbal communication? Yes, I do. I'm working on these things. How do I feel in conversations? Do I listen fully, interrupt, or feel like I must prove myself? I'm going to reflect on that one. Have I ever felt like my voice didn't matter? How did that affect me? What physical sensations arrive when I try to express deep emotions? Oh dear. Do I use excessive words, over-explaining, to feel understood? How can I practice expressing my truth with confidence and clarity? What would change in my life if I fully trusted in the power of my voice? I found that writing it all down helps. Just writing it, I spend a lot of time, even if I never say it to the person, I spend a lot of time in my email drafts writing down my feelings and how I feel about things so that I'm not holding it in. Thank you for letting me read this. I've just been thinking about this since my jaw tensed up and I couldn't open it. I've been thinking about what wound is that connected to. And I just had that kind of moment during this reading where I was like, I think it's a blocked throat chakra, so I just want to read this because maybe somebody needs to hear it. So a deep energetic imbalance affecting self-expression, communication, and the ability to speak one's truth, often caused by fear of judgment, past invalidation, or suppression of personal voice. This wound manifests as difficulty expressing thoughts and emotions, fear of confrontation, or feeling unheard and misunderstood. Some may struggle with speaking up in relationships, holding back opinions and desires due to fear of rejection or conflict. Others may feel pressure to filter or alter their words to please others, guilty, resulting in a loss of authenticity. There may be an internalized belief that their voice doesn't matter or that expressing emotions leads to negative consequences. Emotionally, this wound can create cycles of silence, resentment, or over-explaining to feel understood. Physically, it may manifest as chronic throat tension, and years ago I was convinced that I had throat cancer because I had a blocked throat chakra. I was convinced. I went to the doctor. I was convinced. I did not. I had a blocked throat chakra, sore throats, glot changing, jaw clenching. You knew what I meant. Or thyroid imbalances. Over time, an unresolved throat chakra blockage can result in passive communication, difficulty setting boundaries, or a fear of public speaking and self-advocacy. Watch for patterns of withholding thoughts, struggling to find the right words, or feeling emotionally suffocated by unspoken truths. That just blew me away. I really struggle with that. Clearly, that's something that I need to work on. Again, I don't feel like here or in my readings I have a hard time. It's in my personal life that I struggle with a blocked throat chakra. Anyway, where was I? Thoughts. Sorry for the, look, we're back on this book for those of you who fast forwarded. Thoughts. I will get what I want. Get out of my way. I'll do whatever I want. I didn't ask for your opinion. You can't control me. We're back on wounds of violation, healing, surrender expectations, take pride in your composure and actions. What it's teaching us, anger for positive change, unwilling to accept limitations within your control. Affirmations, I respect myself and others. True power handles challenging circumstances with composure. I take pride in my behavior. Overview, whereas desire is consumed with desperation and wanting, anger, simply put, expects. Anger is no longer interested in yearning or craving. Instead, it resorts to force in order to ensure its expectations are met. From the perspective of the wounded themes of consciousness, force is seen as powerful and impressive in comparison to the life-rejecting energies of guilt or shame. Thus, someone climbing out of the depths of hopelessness or fear, anger can feel intoxicating or even heroic. Healthy expressions of anger can be used to motivate us to make changes and get unstuck, improve our situation, or work to improve the world at large. Anger becomes destructive, however, when it is sought as a sense of power. Anger uses force, which has to resist and fight with life in order to feel in control. Meanwhile, true power affirms life is in harmony with the flow of life and is supported through love and respect. Force is limited and needs external energy to keep it going, whereas true power is unlimited and has access to infinite energy. The wound of violation is the theme of all impatience, aggression, violence, and rapacity. I don't know what that word is. It is the infant throwing a tantrum and is actually unresolved sadness in an intimidating disguise. I do resonate with this wound. I resonate with this wound. Not all of it, but some of it. We perceive our unmet expectations as life not loving us, and therefore anger over-exaggerates situations and uses extreme language. Its entitlement turns into a delusion in which any obstacles or delays are viewed as violations and enemies. Withholding love. Likewise, I need to work on this one. We will perceive unexpected obligations as frustrating burdens that are trying to interfere with our goals. The wound of violation makes us stubborn, hard-headed, Taurus, hard-headed, never, and brutally unforgiving and unable to let go of attachment to results. Thus, the ego can become an extremist due to the point of fighting and even killing for its goals and their illusionary promise of gain and security. Ultimately, the ego mind stuck in the wound of violation is overinflated in its God complex out of desperation and subsequently feels entitled to its expectations. Triggers. Anytime our expectations are not met or our boundaries are crossed, the wound of vow violation will be triggered. I'm telling you, I don't resonate with all of this because I'm not usually violent and unforgivable, but there are certain themes of all of these wounds that I definitely see within myself. Anyway, and I always say being aware of it is what helps you to change the pattern, because once you're aware of it, like once I see, oh, that's a wound of violation, I'm feeling violated. Once you're self-aware about it, you can work to change it and heal it. That's why I'm very open about saying, oh, I feel triggered by that. Guilty. Anytime our expectations are not, I already read that part. The mild expressions of the wound of violation are selfishness, entitlement, impatience, and frustration. So, like, I don't resonate with all of that, but I resonate with impatience and frustration, definitely, with our current situation or other people. When taken to its extreme, the wound of violation can cause us to be forceful or violent, either physically or verbally. It will perceive enemies to contend with and destroy. It will be resistant, vengeful, explosive, and struggle with delayed gratification. It is impulsive and irrational. Examples of common triggers are things like becoming impatient with your boss or coworker, being frustrated at your life or circumstances, arguing with your spouse, cutthroat behavior in business, seeking revenge for those who have hurt you, passive-aggressive language, and road rage in traffic. I'm actually getting really good about my road rage in traffic. I've been working on it. The wound of violation thinks, I will get what I want. I will take what I want. Screw you. Get out of my way. I can do it faster. I will destroy you. You're expendable. You never help me. You always do this. You're taking my time. I don't care what you think. I'll do whatever I want. I didn't ask for your opinion. You're interrupting me. I'm about to explode. I'll get revenge. I'll teach you a lesson. Don't touch my things. Don't dare get in my way. I will do whatever I need to get what I want. I'll make an example out of you. Nothing is going to stop me. I will end you. You can't control me. Healing. To heal the wound of violation, there must be a release of forcing control over others, circumstances, and outcomes. This is most successfully accomplished through building pride in ourselves and our ability to stay composed in the face of challenges and things we perceive as a violation. We have to loosen the chokehold on life, in a sense, and let go of the attachment to life, only going our way, and the delusional entitlement it propagates. Instead, we must become curious about building true self-esteem that is able to maintain security, even if our expectations aren't met. We must understand that anger used as force, as a mask for hidden fear. No. We must understand that anger uses force as a mask for hidden fear, whereas surrender of our expectation comes from the empowerment of self-confidence. We must develop healthy pride in our abilities to persevere, face, and overcome our trials. due to the paranoia caused by constantly having enemies to fight and burdens to overcome, the ego's self-esteem in the wound of violation is actually perpetually insecure and vulnerable. Thus, to heal this wound, we must realize that it is exhausting to constantly worry about our enemies. It is far more empowering to not create any in the first place. In order to achieve this, we must learn to have healthy pride in our emotional composure and how we treat others, because it ultimately comes back around. On the topic of power and respect, the wound of violation must learn that while it may have won and crushed all its perceived opponents, now it is alone and hated. No one respects or loves a tyrant. A person in the wound of violation, therefore, has to look for other ways to enjoy genuine self-esteem and learn to access true power through lovingness and peace. Thus, we continue onward in our evolution by focusing on our dignity, status, admiration, and healthy pride as a solution to gaining self-respect. New narrative: I let go of my expectations, I surrender and trust everything is working out for me. Even this, I am loved, even if things don't go according to how I expect. I go with the flow. Everything is exactly as it should be, even if I can't see it yet. I respect others and their opinions. I can't control life. It can only control my response to it. I need to get a highlighter. I want to highlight that. I can't control life. I can only control my response to it. I want to highlight that. I am patient. I am calm. I am at peace with or without my desired outcome. Being respectful is the most powerful approach. True power is secure and capable of handling things not going my way. True power is calm and composed. My peaceful nature is respected. I appreciate others. I can wait. There are no enemies. Nothing can take from me. I can handle whatever arises unexpectedly with composure. Nothing can withhold love from me. I am loved. I am secure. Security and worthiness of love are within me. Who's eating? Who's eating now? And all of a sudden, I'm hungry. Who's eating? What are you eating? I want to know. So the next wound of insecurity. Trigger: admiration and competition. Root program: I am superior. Traumas: any previous traumas. Delusional conditioning of entitlement being told. You were chosen above others. Conditional love based on performance. No consequences as a child. Primary emotion: pride. Defense mechanism: overcompensating, denial of vulnerabilities, inflated ego, grandiosity. Grandiosity? How do you say that word? Embellisher, exaggerative, superiority complex, arrogant, stubborn. Media choices: rags to riches, power, money, status, celebrity, egotism. Defense mechanism: avoidant, entitled, lazy, delusional, spoiled, all talk, no action, perpetual whining, self-interests and values, self-absorb, absorption, blah, blah, blah. Being better than others: competition, praise, admiration, status, accolades. Physical manifestation examples: stiff neck, stubbornness, sciatica. Hypocrisy, muscle issues, resisting life, broken bones, pride. Before the fall: stuttering, insecurity. Approach to challenges: denial, competitiveness, reverting to lower themes when triggered, complaining. Thoughts: I am the best. What's in it for me? I deserve to get whatever I want. No one is as good as me. I am the smartest. Other people are dumb. Healing: humility to face vulnerabilities with courage. What it's teaching us: healthy pride in ourselves for overcoming the previous wounded themes with honesty and self-respect. Affirmations: there is no competition to be me. I face my insecurities with courage. Admitting my weaknesses is my greatest strength. We can all win. All right. So, I'm really hungry all of a sudden. What are you eating? The wound of violation at its core comes from sadness. It is ultimately begging for its expectations to be met in order to feel loved, heard, and secure. Thus, pride emerges in an attempt to prove we are worthy of our expectations getting met. In its constructive form, pride comes forth as a genuine strengthening of self-esteem and a sense of capability in successfully facing the wounded themes of consciousness and the varying challenges of human life. It is able to face the darkness of shame and guilt, overcome the paralysis of overwhelm, accept grief and loss, push through the fear of the unknown, and achieve desires. We become motivated and driven to be proud of ourselves and positively seek to feel admirable, respectable, and worthy. Thus, the constructive energy of pride is absolutely uplifting and empowering in comparison to the initial energies of shame or guilt that seek to prove unworthiness. On the other hand, the wound of insecurity can become overly emphasized and destructive due to its hidden vulnerabilities. In this wound, we feel like we are not getting the respect and love we deserve. Thus, as an overcompensation to prove and guarantee our worth, the ego mind becomes inflated in its perception of itself and believes that we are superior to others and more deserving. This superiority is used to validate why we should get our way, why our way is always right, best, and the most loved. Never done. People with a wound of insecurity, therefore, tend to become vain, self-serving, and appear egotistical. And that's what I've learned. The people who appear the most egoic and vain are actually the ones who are insecure. And while it is extremely motivated and driven, pride ultimately is only thinking of itself and unable to celebrate others' victories and surrenders in defeat. The wound of insecurity comes from the other side of judgment. Whereas the previous theme focused on negative judgment of self and others, in the wound of insecurity, there is an over-obsession with inflated positive self-judgment and status. This is accomplished by denying any weaknesses, mistakes, or self-doubt we secretly have. Thus, pride toots its own horn, boasts, gloats, and props itself up in order to feel good about itself. However, it is only the presentation of security and power, but in actuality, it is hiding unresolved vulnerabilities, which, if discovered, collapses the damaged. Ego back into shame and guilt. The wound of insecurity is rooted in lack rather than the security of abundance, which comes from accountability. As a result, the mind is ultimately trying to be better than others in order to make sure and get enough love. The root of the mind's story is that there is not enough love and respect to go around, like a child fighting, with siblings for a mother's attention. The wound of insecurity influences us to be in complete denial of our own weaknesses and human fallibility, to the point of not seeing or accepting them, even if they are clearly shown to us. Our pride will still deny it. Because of this, pride is the epitome of paradigm blindness, and therefore extremely dangerous because of its inability to face reality. Simply put, the wound of insecurity makes us believe that if we don't acknowledge a problem, maybe it will go away on its own. Pride goes before the fall because its own denial blocks it from seeing its weak spots and has a healthy respect for boundaries. Thus, people with a wound of insecurity can be reckless due to denial and overcommitted, due to needing to prove their worthiness, eventually pushing to their own demise. The wound of insecurity needs to feel the most special and uniquely different because it is actually still lacking true self-confidence. Therefore, when in the wound of insecurity, we become obsessed with credit-seeking and making sure everyone knows we are right and we're the best. Society has glamorized the vanities of pride throughout our history as epic, heroic, or impressive. Endless wars, competition, and conquering of others, both on large and small scale, are all examples of the arrogance of insecurity. From a higher awareness of love, there is no competition, which is a vanity of pride, because there is nothing being withheld or in need of proving. There is no lack and nothing to fight over. Everyone has equal access to divine self-worth, respect, happiness, love, and fulfillment within themselves, even with our weaknesses, mistakes, limitations, and humility. Triggers. Due to pride's insecurity, its triggers will be anything related to earning respect and admiration. On the other side of the spectrum, the wound of insecurity can be triggered by humiliation and a perceived loss of respect. All we want is to be loved and seen, but instead of doing the inner work with courage and looking at ourselves. Honestly, the wound of insecurity will try and manipulate respect from others through masking and lying. Thus, the wound of insecurity will come off as always in the know. It will try to be right, the smartest, the best, superior, the most loved. It can range from expressing the know-it-all, or the entitled, spoiled brat, all the way to the grandiosity of believing itself to be a god that should be served and praised, such as kings and pharaohs. Is that how you say that? Throughout history. Accompanying thoughts for the wisdom of nope. Accompanying thoughts for. The wound of insecurity may include things like, I am the best. What's in it for me? I deserve to get whatever I want. My opinion is always best. I know because who's eating? My tummy is grumbling. I am the most beautiful, or other valued quality. I am right. My way is the best way. I am the most loved. They are not as loved. I am the smartest. They are dumb. People are stupid. I am right. They are wrong. I have the one and only way. I will go down in history. I am perfect. I always win. I am superior. They are inferior. Reputation is everything. Everyone owes me. I don't owe anyone. I don't owe anyone anything. I am the strongest. They are weak. I am the greatest ever. No one is as good as me. This is really interesting because for me, I always thought insecurity was like, I guess what I'm feeling. With insecurity is not actual the wound of insecurity, because I've never once thought any of these things. I am superior. Like that's interesting. That's making me think a lot about what insecurity actually is. Do you know what I mean? So maybe what I've always felt my whole life is what the wound of judgment. Anyway, I'm just thinking about all this. I was not expecting this for the wound of insecurity. So the denial of the wound of insecurity Its denial will sound like, I didn't do anything. I don't know what they are talking about. I'm fine. I didn't do that. That wasn't my intention. I don't believe what they are saying about me. I don't have to worry about that. They are. Wrong about my weaknesses. Nothing can stop me. I don't have to prepare for that. That isn't going to happen to me. Healing. True security and unconditional love see that everyone can equally win. There is enough for everyone. There is no lack or shortage. There is no actual competition, and therefore no need for delusional hierarchies of value, such as superior or inferior humans. All competition is a game of the mind in order to prove worthiness that isn't actually required. There is no competition to be you. You are the only one who can be you. No one can take true freedom and lasting happiness from you. No one can take your innate divine worth. It is yours and always will be. It cannot be altered or lost. Real unconditional love and emotional security are powerful enough to lose, surrender, and admit weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and limits without any loss of self-esteem. Likewise, when we are truly secure, we can also celebrate others' strengths and victories, accepting the truth that we are innately unconditionally loved. Is not something to necessarily... I just went in one long tangent. I didn't see the period. Accepting the truth that we are innately unconditionally loved is not something to necessarily boast about either, because it is technically equally within everyone. It is not an accomplishment, only an allowance and acceptance. We have to realize that, ironically, when we have nothing to prove, we are usually in turn respected. The most secure person has only everything to give and share, and is a servant of love. When we remember we are always free and loved, we can't help but reflect that same love and openness to others and wish the same for them. We seek the betterment of our others because we know there is nothing lacking. Their benefit is our benefit is their benefit. A world of people genuinely happy and in love with life doesn't use up all the love, so that there isn't any more left. On the contrary, it fills the world up with even more joy and happiness without limit. Think of the last time you laughed with a friend or lover. Sharing joy magnifies it. Thus, the final step out of pride is made through accountability and humility. It takes courage and humility. I'm just going to stop this before it cuts me off. Where was I? It takes courage and humility to admit our fears, insecurities, and mistakes, and through the revealing process of self-honesty, we develop true power and respect. As we summon the courage to face our vulnerabilities, we move into the positive, liberating themes of consciousness that bring empowerment, participation, power. I already said power, didn't I? That brings empowerment, participation, purpose, meaning, love, and happiness to our lives. Because insecurity is the fundamental core of the ego, it will be the greatest temptation to fall back into throughout all higher themes from here on. Thus, as a caveat, is that how you say that? Moving forward, we must be aware of pride coming back in disguised forms, such as credit-seeking, forming an intellectual or spiritual. Ego, and the pride of being wiser, more gifted, and more spiritually mature than others, which is a delusion. The ego will always try to identify with positive results as coming from me. I did this, I thought of that. To avoid these pitfalls, we must realize that all progress is being given and not coming from the ego. We make progress despite the ego, not because of it. Our egos will eventually be discovered to be an illusion. Underneath all egos, we are all the same light of awareness that is the divine self. There is no actual better or worse, and therefore no separate ego to take credit for anything. It may be useful to recall that what we are actually really dealing with through our own inner work are layers of resistance to the truth of who we really are, rather than any sort of accomplishing and earning. New narrative. I take accountability for myself. Accountability is my greatest strength. There is no competition. I don't have to prove anything. I am humble. My life is a gift. All progress is a gift. I face my insecurities with courage. My vulnerability is powerful. There is enough for everyone. Others do not need to lose in order for me to win. We can all win. My way is just one way. I don't always need to be right. I am happy for others. I celebrate the success of others. I empower others. I enjoy others' victories. I use my abilities and talents to support and serve others. I do not need to earn love. I am innately loved. I give love to others. Love is my natural, effortless state. There is no shortage or lack of love. I build others up. So, we did it. We read all the wounded themes of consciousness, and now. The next chapter we're reading, oh, this is interesting. We're into the themes of healing. Yay, that's nice. So chapter 10, Accepting Our Destiny. The key to growth is the introduction into higher dimensions of consciousness. And just in case you need a recap, then I'll take a picture of this the next time we read it, but I've shown you a few times this chart, and this is the 4D reality. Themes of healing, 4D reality, self is mind, relief, self-empowered mentality, understanding, acceptance, self-motivation, ease, accountability. So, no, I didn't put in the bookmark. I found it. Panic over. All right, so we're almost done it. So my friends, again, thank you for all the birthday wishes. I'm going to go clean my house now. I'm just going to go do it. I'm just going to go push through it. But anyway, I am sending you guys lots of love and light, and I will talk to you soon, and we'll read chapter 10. And until then, I love you. Bye.